Hi, everyone. Welcome to our weekly deep dive webinar. My name is Savannah. I am on the customer success team. It is good to have you. I am going to be covering Sendible's tasks and approval workflows. So we're just going to go through some of those items. And we will also have our Costa from our support team is going to come on and answer any questions that you guys have. So just next to the chat box, you'll see that Heather and Costa have said hello, along with Alan. Feel free to put in your questions. That is right next to the chat box. We do ask that you keep the questions as relevant to this topic so that we can really answer all of the questions that get asked. So if you can keep them on the tasks and approval workflows, that would be awesome. Hi, everybody. All right, so if you've joined us before, you know that we often do an icebreaker to get to know each other a little bit better. So while I start sharing my screen, I'm going to ask if you guys would like to participate. You can answer in the chat. What is your favorite candy bar? So that is my icebreaker this afternoon. Ooh, a payday. That sounds delicious. All right. Dove. Ooh, dark chocolate. Yes. Mine is a Milky Way Midnight. I don't know if anybody's had that, but oh man, so good. Okay. Well, awesome. Nice, Anne. Glad you and I share the same affinity. The Milky Way Midnight is actually just the dark chocolate version, so all good things. Okay, so we're going to get started, and I'm going to start with going through setting up an approval workflow with your team. So this is going to be found under the admin settings. So if you're just going to click on your name, if you're an admin, you're going to see manage users. Again, under that admin tab, you're going to be able to select that. And you're going to see we have a lot. Because I'm an admin, I can see everybody on the team. But I am just going to be editing this team member of mine, Polly. So I'm going to click this button, Edit. And I can see all of her information here. But I'm going to focus on workflow. So here under the workflow, we see that Polly needs approval before publishing, and it's set to no right now. If you would like to have Polly have to submit every post that she writes for approval, you can toggle this to yes. Now, when you do this, you are going to be given this spot, which says who is going to have to approve her post. So I'm going to go ahead and set her up that she does need to submit all of her posts for approval, and that I'm going to be the one to approve them. So that's what that looks like. All right, so now that I've updated the workflow and say that I do want her to have approval, I'm going to go ahead and hit Update User. Now, I am also signed in as Polly. So this is, as you can see, Polly over here, and Polly is a team member, so she does not have those admin settings. But because I have created the workflow, I'm going to compose a message. And you'll notice that when I compose the message, one second, let me just refresh this. I'm going to be doing this a lot, you guys, so I appreciate your patience. All right, so we'll hit compose. And now let's say she is ready to compose a post to Facebook. And we're going to go ahead and put Happy Thursday. And we're going to go ahead and add a scheduled date. So I would like this to go out tomorrow, and we'll say around lunchtime. That's perfect. Okay, now I'd like to add some media. I can go in, you have a bunch of different options. I'm just going to choose this from my media library. Now, you'll notice that Polly only has one option. She can send it for approval. And you'll notice that when she pulls it in, she can only send it to Savannah because that's what the workflow we've set up.
Savannah, I don't mean to cut you off. I think something happened with the screen sharing.
Oh no, thanks
We
so
can
much.
still see manage users. I'm sorry to stop you. Hi, everyone.
Thanks so much.
I think it might just be the window. Maybe the
you're
dashboard
right.
isn't
Okay.
sharing it.
Perfect. Okay. Let me pull that up. Thanks so much for jumping in. I appreciate it.
Of course. Sorry.
All right. I'm going to close this. Can you see the compose box now?
Looks great. Thanks so much.
Perfect. Thank you. All right. So we've just had Polly. So again, I've signed in as Polly. And I have composed this post for Facebook. And I've now scheduled it for tomorrow at around lunchtime. You'll notice that Polly only has this option to send for approval because of the workflow that we set up. So when you set it up to send for approval, my name, her manager, pulls up, and we can just write a message in here. Perfect. And now we have the option to send for approval. So we will, when you're monitoring things that you've sent for approval, you're going to actually go under the Engage tab. And then you're going to go towards My Tasks. And you're going to see that we have tasks for me, for others, and completed. Now, since I'm still logged in as Polly, I have actually sent something for approval. So it's going to be under the For Others category, right? Polly wants Savannah to approve this post. So now I'm going to log in as, or I'm going to change back to Savannah. And all right, so I'm going to change back to Savannah's profile so you can see what I'm looking at. And I'm going to go, and you're going to notice that we actually have an alert on this bell icon, so I can check those. And you can see that you have been assigned a task. Now, you can either select this notification right here, or you can go into the Engage tab and you can check the My Tasks section. So I'm going to go here for me, and I have the opportunity here to approve or reject, to respond to a comment, which would send Polly an alert, a notification that I've responded in a comment. But let's say I'm ready to approve it or reject it. So I'm going to select this, and it's going to pull me into what looks like the compose box. I have the opportunity to edit it or to modify it in any ways that I see fit. And then I can either reject it right here or send it for approval, or approve and send it. So we have those three options. If you select to reject it, you're going to give kind of a reasoning just to let Polly know why you wanted her to change maybe the image or something like that. And then you could click OK, and that will send her a notification that you've rejected the post, and it'll give her an opportunity to edit it. If you'd like to approve and send, it will approve it and schedule it out to go out at this time under Polly's dashboard. So we can do that. All right. Now, another thing that I wanted to cover is that we can also have the opportunity to send for approval. Now, I'm logged in as Savannah and I manage Polly, but let's say that I would like to send this over to my manager. Something to note about the approval workflow is that you can only send one message for approval to one person at a time. So Polly can send it to me, but she cannot send it to me and to Heather. Now, the way to kind of create a multi-level approval process is to have me send it for approval from here. Since I don't have any restrictions on who I can send it for approval, I can send it to Heather and add a note. Please approve and send for approval. And if I would like to approve and send, now it's scheduled. So we have that sent out. Polly has asked me, I've approved it. And so that's covered. That's what it looks like to approve or reject a post. And again, if you're ever looking for where you're going to find the approval, find those posts, you're going to find them under the My Tasks section of the Engage tab. All right. Now, what I also wanted to cover was the opportunity to add approvals or tasks, because there are actually other tasks that Sendible allows. And that's going to actually take us into the priority inbox. Now, I am under the Savannah user, and I have, these are the engagement that's happened on my posts. So let's say that I read this comment and it's a good comment, it's great, I want my team to respond to it. I actually have the opportunity to assign this task within Sendible. So you're going to look over, this is a comment on this post, on this profile. We have the opportunity to reply myself, or you can select these 3 dots on the right-hand side, and you can actually assign it to a team member. So here I'm going to, let's say I'm going to assign this to Polly, and I'm just going to ask her to please respond to comment. Now I'm going to go ahead and assign that. So now, while I'm looking at this, I can see that I have sent it to Polly. Now I'm going to switch over into Polly's dashboard, and we are going to see what it looks like on her end. One second. All right, so now we're going to check out Polly's. Let me check and see. Can you guys see my screen? It looks like we're still on my side. One second. I appreciate your patience. All right. So now we are in Polly's dashboard, and we are going to go into this Engage tab, and we're going to see that I have a task for me here. There's an alert right there. There's also a notification here up at the bell icon. If I check my tasks for me, you can see that Savannah has asked Polly to respond to the comment, and this is the comment, and I can reply right through here, right through that task. And then I can also add a comment asking if there's any details that Savannah needs to get from that I need to add with my comment. So that is the ability to add tasks and assign tasks straight from the priority inbox, as well as creating an approval workflow for your team members. Now, I also wanted to share that we have the ability to, you don't always have to set up a user to require approval. So what you can do is you can set up a user to not need to toggle that workflow to no. So you do have the ability to do that. And what we're going to do is we're going to go into Manage Users. And let's say we feel like Polly can post on her own without submitting for approvals. We'll select Edit. We'll go back into the workflow, and we'll set it to no. No allows the user to compose a post and has the option to send it now, to schedule right here, or to send for approval. So if Polly wants to continue to send things on to Savannah, she has that freedom, but because we've changed the permissions, she doesn't have to do that every time. So you have some flexibility there. All right, so that is all that I was going to share this time. I'm going to invite Costa on to the stage to answer any questions. Hi, Costa.
Hello, sorry, new headset. Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today, Savannah. Great job. You pretty much covered everything. We haven't had many questions. We've had a couple of questions from Melissa and Paula. Oh, we've also got a question from Kelsey as well. Okay, so I'll answer the first question, which is basically the same question that's been asked by Melissa and Paula at the same time. And that is if Polly creates a post and sends it to user, if user A creates a post and sends it to user B as a task for approval, and then user B sends it to user C, what happens? Is Polly, user A, notified about the fact that that task has been sent to somebody else for approval? The answer is no, not currently. The user A who created the post is only going to be notified about the, they're only going to be made aware of the fact that somebody else also took a look at the post if the other people leave a note or a comment on that task. So when it's approved or sent back to them, they're going to see a comment left by somebody else who they didn't send it to for approval and say, oh, okay, so they approved it as well. That A, and B, if they have access to that person's dashboard, so if user A has access to user C's dashboard, then they'll be able to see it in the tasks for others tab as well. So let's see. Okay, Kelsey. Kelsey's asking, can you show what it looks like for Polly when a post is rejected and she now needs to edit it? Absolutely. So first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to share my screen. Okay. Share screen. Okay, you guys see that, right?
We can now.
Terrific. Okay, so when a post is rejected or when a task is rejected, what the user will see is, because I've already got a rejected post, lucky for all of us, what the user is going to see is a red thumbs down, like this one over here, and it says Damien Karras, or that user has rejected your scheduled message. And when you reject a post, you straight away you get a like a little box that says leave a comment why you're rejecting the message, in which case it's going to appear as a comment right over there. Now that it's been rejected and it's been sent back to me as a task, I have the resubmit button. If you click on that, it pretty much just opens it up again so that you can make any changes you need to in order to send it for approval again. So it works. Now, at this point, I would like to make it abundantly clear that rejecting is the way to go. Deleting a task is very ill-advised, because if you delete a task, you delete it. It's gone. You're just never going to get that back. Whereas rejecting a post is, I reject it because, you know, wrong, you didn't use the correct punctuation, for example, send it back. Change it, resubmit it, and you're good to go. So yeah, that's how, that's what it looks like when it's rejected. Kelsey. Now Paula's back with a vengeance. She's got 2 more questions. Okay, so do users B and C get email notifications with an approve button? And they do indeed. When a user receives a task for approval, this is what they receive pretty much. Okay, so they receive an email saying this user has sent you, wants you to approve a post. Approve or reject, view my tasks. So if you click on view my tasks, it redirects you to Sendible. That's why you can see the URL at the bottom on the left of the screen. So it just redirects you back to your Sendible account so you can view your tasks there. If you click on approve or reject though, it says it's going to redirect you. Please wait 3 seconds. We'll just click here and get it over with. Okay, action has already been taken on this task. I've already approved that post, but let's do another one. Okay, I'll be very quick. Okay, CB, test post. I'm currently logged in as Damien Karras. So creating a post, I'll leave a comment as well, send for approval. And now we should be receiving an email if I'm logged into the correct email account. Okay, so Lancaster Marin would like you to approve a post. Okay, so here's the comment that I left. Over here it says comment here, and it has in little quotation marks so that it looks like a comment. And let's click on approve or reject. Click here. And this is what it shows us. Lancaster Marin would like you to approve a message, date and time, comment, reject, approve and reassign, view my tasks. So if we click on approve and reassign, it's done, it's finished. Now it sends it back to the author as a task. If it's scheduled for a later date, it's just going to be approved and scheduled, and it's going to be reassigned to the original author. If it's not scheduled for a later date, or if it's just without any scheduling, it just goes out straight away. It goes out straight away, and that's pretty much it. So view my tasks, obviously, if you haven't got a Sendible account, it's just going to redirect you to the login page. And, well, if you don't have a Sendible account, you just go back and approve or reject from there. Now, okay, so do users B and C get an email notification with an approve button? Just answered that for you, Paula. Now, sorry, part 2. Do users B and C get an email notification, or do they have to log in and look at tasks? I think I just answered that now. However, you do bring up something very, very, very interesting. You can approve or reject a task via email without access to the dashboard. Now, what I mean is this. Okay. Now, you just saw I sent a post for a task to Damien Karras for approval. It didn't ask me to log into my Sendible account. It's sent to the email address that my Sendible account is registered to. So that's all you need. An email address that the user has access to so that they can receive 2 buttons. They don't need access to the Sendible account. They just need access to their email address. And that's all they don't need to go to Sendible necessarily. Let's see. Okay, no new questions just yet, but I'm gonna build on what Paula asked. Okay, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna create another post, a new task, and I'm gonna send it to Damien Karras for approval, because I just want to show you something really cool that a lot of users don't do with the task approvals, and they can if they choose to. But I'm just going to show you what it is, and you can do it if you want to. So test post 2, and I'm going to send it for approval. Actually, let me schedule it as well. I'll schedule it to go out on the 18th, because why not? And I'm going to send it to Damien Karras, sent for approval. So that's going to be sent to Damien Karras' email address, and I'm currently logged in as Lancaster. Okay, so now I'm going to log out completely. I'm going to go back to my email. I'm going to refresh it very quickly. Or not so quickly. I'll refresh the page. Okay, Lancaster Marin has sent you task for approval. Okay, so I'm not logged into Sendible. Approve or reject. Just like before, it redirects me to a place where I can approve or reject the post, and I can see all this stuff here, and I can approve and reassign. Now, the reason I just went through this process again is because I want to point something out. If you have a client and you want to be able to send them posts for approval, they don't necessarily need to have access to the Sendible dashboard. It's a clever little workaround. But you do need to have a Sendible dashboard which is registered to their email address. Even if you don't give them access to it, doesn't matter. If I have a client and their email, if Damien Karras, for example, is my client, I can create a Sendible account, register it to Damien Karras at whatever.com. I can create a post, send it to him for approval. My client will receive that email, and he's going to see the post, and he's going to see the comment that says, "Do you like it?" And the post as it is with the image that I've chosen, and he can reject it or he can approve it. If he clicks on View My Tasks, it's going to redirect him to my my Sendible account or my white label or whatever I have, and he won't be able to log in because he doesn't have a password. But he will be able to approve it from there. So it's a clever little workaround. Some users like to. I'll get to that, Alan. It's a clever little workaround that some users like to take advantage of. Now, Alan is asking, wait, what? Do they need to be a paid user? No. Now, let me show you what I mean. Okay. Sorry, this is how I log into my Sendible account. So the type of user they don't need to have their own Sendible account. We're talking about your Sendible account now, the one that you log into, and you send and you create users in. So if I go to Manage Users, okay, currently I only have 4 users. One of them is me, the one at the top, the admin. Now, I can create one user account under here by clicking on New User. And I can create that using my client's email address. So if my client's email address is my client at yahoo.com, let me just make it a little bit more. Okay, I doubt there's anyone with that email address. My client at yahoo.com. Put that in the email address field. That's their username and password. I set it up whatever, any way I want. Permissions, account. You're basically setting up a new user. The important thing is it's registered to your client's email address. And I create the user. Oh, please enter a name. All right, 1. Okay. So I just created a user account for my client. He doesn't have access to it. I just created the new user on my Sendible account, so he's not going to receive any welcome emails or anything. Now, the important thing is it's registered to my client's email address. So now, Okay. Let me refresh my browser very quickly. Okay, so now today's just bad tech day. Everything's failing for some reason. Okay, now it's refreshing. I swear, it took me 20 minutes just to write a tweet in the morning. Okay, so back to where we were. So I've just created a new client account, client 1, and that's registered to my client's email address. So now if I go to compose, and I create the post, test. Good point, I'll get to that. Send for approval. I select client 1. And comment, send for approval. Now, that has just been sent to my client 276.132 at yahoo.com. Hopefully no one exists with that email address. But that's just been sent there. So my client's going to receive an email saying, Lancaster has sent you this post. Do you like it? Do you want to approve it, or do you want to reject it? That's the important thing. They don't need to have access to this dashboard. I have access to my Sendible dashboard. That's what matters. But they can approve it or reject it. So that is just, it just goes to show that you can send your clients stuff for approval via email, even if they don't have access to their dashboard or your dashboard. So that's just a good thing. Nora is asking, if you only have 3 paid users with your account, can you add another client account for free, or do you have to upgrade your user profile allowances? Good question. If you have reached your limit, you can add more users by clicking on you have to be an admin to do this, by the way, but you can do it. So click on your username on the top right of your dashboard, go to subscription, and right over here where it shows your bundle, like over here, you'll see on the right-hand side it has a plus and minus sign. The minus sign is grayed out because that's my plan, but I can add extra users. So if I add 1 more user, it shows me I'll have 13 users with 208 profiles in total for my allowance. I can add as many as I'd like, and it shows me the updated price of my plan right up here. Good question, by the way. Yeah, I'm just saying you don't necessarily have to change your plan. There is a little bit of wiggle room. So that. Also, something that no one's asked yet, and usually whenever we discuss tasks and approvals, somebody always asks this. No one's asked this yet. Maybe you guys all know it, and I'll just say it for no reason, but I'm going to say it anyway. So when it comes to sending tasks for approval, there's a couple of ways you can go about it. So user A, who is the admin on the account, let's take a look at the admin. User A, who is the admin on the account, has a client who has access to their dashboard. So let's talk about Lancaster Marin and Damien Karras, 2 very good friends. So Lancaster is the admin, Damien Karras is the team member or client, and he's hired my services. I've given him access to my dashboard so that he can check out his posts as well. Now, if Lancaster Marin if the admin creates a post and sends it to Damien Karras for approval, Damien Karras is going to see that task. He can approve it, but once it's approved, it's going to become visible on Lancaster Marin's dashboard, and Damien Karras won't be able to see it on his calendar or in his scheduled view because it wasn't scheduled in his dashboard. And let me show you what I mean. So engage calendar. And this is just the last thing I'm going to show you because I know we've gone a little bit over. Okay, so let's say today's the 4th. I'm going to schedule something for the 12th. And you know what? Let me just put a pin on this because I use it too often. 12th, Damien. I'm going to send this for approval to, actually, I'm just going to send it to client 1 because client 1 is a client. So send for approval. Now, if we switch over to client 1, okay, so client 1 sees that there's something here for approval. By the way. Okay, client 1 can't see anything. They can only see a task. Okay, so he sees over here in his tasks that there is Lancaster Marin just sent me something for approval. Okay, let's approve it. Okay. Approve and send. So now it's scheduling it for the 12th. Now, if client 1 goes back to his calendar, he can't see it. He still can't see it. However, the admin, who was the original person who created the post, can. Now, the reason the client 1 can't see it is because client 1 is a client. A client, by default, can only see what they have created, what's going on in their dashboard. So anything that an admin creates or any other user creates and sends to a client for approval, the client won't be able to see in their calendar when they approve it. So as a workaround, something that you can do is you, as an admin, you can switch over to client 1. Now you're in their dashboard. And you can do the exact same thing. You can create a post. You can click on Compose on the top right, create a new post, and send it to them for approval from within their dashboard. So if once they approve it, it will show up on their calendar. If they want to reject it, though, they can still reject it and send it back to you for approval. So let's see what that looks like. So let's do it for the 13th. Just send for approval. Okay, we got a new task. New task. Okay. Bad example. Okay, normally it just says submit. I've set this user up the wrong way, so okay, good. My bad. It works just fine. Sending, and now when they go to calendar, there it is. It's scheduled for the 13th, and that's because it was created from within their own dashboard. And because Lancaster Marin is an admin, he'll be able to see it on his calendar as well. That's it. An important little bit of workflow that a lot of users like that get confused about, but it works. So that's pretty much it, guys. Savannah, is there anything else that you want to add?
I don't think so. Thank you so much for coming, everybody. We were so happy to have you join us. Just remember, we will be back next week on Thursday.
Terrific. Thank you so much, guys.
Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.